Hi! Welcome to this Draw Like a Pro tutorial. In this video we'll be drawing what I'd like to call a space seal. I've created a color palette in case you want to use the same colors. I'll also be using some of my own brushes in this drawing. You can get them all on the links at the description below. They are all free downloads. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's pick this black color here and just drag and drop it on our canvas to fill all of it. Now let's create a new layer and pick this pinkish color. Go to brushes and select Studio Pen in the inking set. If you find it difficult to draw smooth lines, you can go to Settings, select Stroke Path and the streamline value to 95–96%, so your lines will be more smooth. Now that we've selected our brush, we'll start to draw our cute seal. Let's set the brush size to around 25%. And we start from drawing its head. And continue with the body. Like this. You can even open the image of a seal if you are not sure about the curves and the shapes. Maybe it would be easier. Here comes the tail. This. Now let's fill the layer. If you don't like the curves, you can select the eraser and delete some shapes until you are satisfied with it. Remove here. I think I'll also add a little more volume here to make it look more like a seal. It is supposed to have a curvy chest. Okay, now make a new layer below the seals and let's pick this nice color here. We'll have the Studio Pen selected on the new layer, and now we'll draw this stand our seal is standing on. If you want your lines to be perfectly straight, you tap your finger on the screen and it becomes straight. Let's fill the layer with our color. Let me fix this corner a little. It's okay now. Now let's draw a meteor. We'll pick this color. Still have Studio Pen selected, and we draw a circle. If you tap your finger on the screen, it'll make a perfect circle. We fill the layer. Now that we've drawn the basics, we will draw the shadows. For that, we will create a new layer above. Select the clipping mask and pick a color darker than our seal's color. We'll go to brushes, textures, and select the grunge brush. Change the opacity into 70% and change the brush size into around 40%, but we will change its size a little bit later during the process. Let's add some shadow here. At the lower part and here. Now let's pick even a darker color, this dark pink, and lower the brush size. We add shadow on the edges, which will be darker. You can play around with the size of the brush, pressure and opacity. Here on the tail, when we are shadowing smaller details, it is better to make the brush smaller, just like here in the tail. Now to make highlights, we need to pick a lighter color, still using the grunge brush, of course, and we'll just draw the back of the seal. Creating these highlights here. And here it looks fine. Let's create a new layer. And with this dark color and using Studio Pen from inking, we will draw the eye. You can use any brush like monoline or script from calligraphy, but I like using Studio Pen. Let's make the size smaller and just draw a circle again. Tap the finger on the screen to make the shape perfect. Fill the color. And with the light color, we draw these light reflections. Let's move it a little bit. Yes, now better. Now I suggest we work on the background. For that we create a new layer above the dark one. For that we will just use different colors, like this dark purple. We go to airbrushing and select the soft brush. Let's make the size bigger and just draw these stripes starting from the top. Now pick this violet and draw another stripe here. Let's pick this color also. This dark shades on top here. This dark pink color also. You can use other colors if you like. And now let's go to adjustments and select Gaussian blur. Move your pencil to the right to blur. And this way we blend all the colors together. It looks fine. Now let's go to the layer with the eye. Pick this dark color again. And with the studio pen we draw the nose. It doesn't have to be a clipping mask. Maybe we want our nose to be a little bigger than the shape of the seal. We fill the nose with color, and we also draw these dots on the cheek. It's from where our whiskers grow. We pick a lighter color and we draw the whiskers with the fine tip brush, like this. Now what I want to do is to draw the shadow under the eye. Let's go to TatyWorks fabrics, pick the drape brush here, make it smaller, and on a new layer above the shadow layer we create a clipping mask and we draw this shadow dark on top and the light one at the bottom of the eye. Now it looks more realistic. Let's also make the mouth. For that we go to eraser and set it to studio pen. We erase the part of the shadow, this way creating the mouth. Now what I would like to do is I want to add the reflected light. I go to textures, select grunge brush, and with the light color I draw the reflected light at the bottom of the body. Here you can also play around with the size and opacity again and pressure. Okay. Now I would like to add the spots. I will use the flicks brush from spray paints, create a new layer, clipping mask. Let's adjust the opacity and size somewhere in the middle. And you draw these spots all over the body. If you are quite satisfied how it looks, you can just merge the layers. I think now we can work on the flippers. I guess they are called flippers, not arms. We create a new layer, and with the studio pen we start drawing the shape of a flipper. Like here, don't forget to close the shapes to fill the layer. Let's fix here a little bit. And just like we did with the body, we will also add shadows on a new layer, which is clipping mask. We go to textures, select the grunge brush and a darker pink color. We start drawing the shadow at the bottom of the flipper. Then select a darker color and add a little bit more shadow here, and also a highlight. Just same steps as we did with the body. To remove this edge between the flipper and the body, we will go to eraser, airbrush and soft brush, and we just erase this part where the flipper grows, like here. Yes, fine. We can also add the spots here on the flipper. We go again to the spray paints, flicks, and we add them on a separate layer, which is clipping mask. Now let's draw the second flipper. For that we create a layer below the body. Select the dark pink color and use the studio pen. We draw a similar shape, close it and fill. Now let's also add the shadows to it. Create a new layer, clipping mask, select a darker pink color, and with the grunge brush we add these little shadows over here. Let's create a new layer, also clipping mask, and set the blending mode to multiply using same color. Now let's go to eraser, select studio pen, merge the layers with the shadow, and erase this little part. Let's do the same on the upper flipper. Just select the layer with the shadow and erase a little here. I suggest we now work on the stand. Let's create a new layer above this. It has this color, and now we pick this dark pink color. Go to TatyWorks fabrics and select this drape brush that I will use for shading. Just draw a slight shadow here on the right side. Create a new layer, clip-in mask, and set the blended mode to multiply. And with this dark pink color, we are adding even more shadow to it. We imagine that the light is coming from the left side, so this part of the stand is darkened. On a new layer, which is also clip-in mask with a lighter color, we are adding the highlights on the left side and here in the middle. This way adding some volume. Let's lower the opacity a little bit. Now what I will do is I create a new layer above these layers, also clip-in mask, and I select the canvas texture brush from my landscape brush set. Let's pick this dark purple color and draw all over the stand. After that, we switch to color burn mode. It makes the texture more visible. Now we will work on the meteor. Create a new layer. Select the grunge brush again, this dark purple color, and with the big size we just draw this shadow on the right side, on the bottom, and also adding some texture. Let's go darker at the bottom and also add the highlight on the left side and some reflected light on the right to make it look more like a sphere, not flat, like this. Okay, create a new layer now, pick the dark purple color, and with the studio pen let's draw the holes. Keep in mind that the holes should not be round, they are more like ellipse shape, because when you are looking at the sphere there is an angle. If you just draw them round, it will look flat. Use different sizes. And draw as many holes as you wish. Like here. Small ones. And one little here. Okay, now let's add some depth to the holes. We create a new layer above. We go to the layer with the holes and click select. This way, when we go back to the layer above, what we draw here will be only within the shapes of these holes, not on the entire meteor. Let's pick a lighter color. Go to TatyWorks fabrics and pick this drape brush just to add some texture. Try to draw them on the one side. Because the light always goes from the one side. Let's pick a lighter color and add some more depth. Like this, and here, there. Okay, looks fine. Yes. Let's add more texture on the background. On a new layer, go to landscape and select the paper texture brush with one of the light colors. We change the blending mode to add, and with the big brush size we just draw this texture. If you zoom, you will see it looks like a stardust. I like this effect that it gives. Let's draw a planet with the studio pen. We draw a circle, tap in the finger and drag the color, create a new layer, clipping mask, select a darker violet color. Let's go to painting and select one of these brushes. You can just experiment with them. Which ones do you like? I will use this old brush. Draw some stripes, trying to repeat the shapes of the sphere, and with a lighter color and smaller brush size I draw these stripes here. Okay, now let's go to adjustments and select Liquify. Here you can see many options. We will use this one. What you do is you just press and hold see what happens. You can move around or just tap and hold, see what you like. If you don't like how it looks, you can go to reconstruct, just press and hold again and it will go back to the initial shape. This way you can play around, experiment until you start to like how it looks. Okay, enough, I think. I want to scale it a little bit, make it bigger, like this. Now let's add some shading. On a new layer, clipping mask. Let's select this dark violet color, go to airbrushing and select the soft brush. Draw this shadow, pick a darker color, add more shadow at the bottom and on the side. Also add some reflected light. Okay, like this. We don't want our planet to look flat, so we are playing with the shadow. Let's switch it to multiply. Lower the opacity to around 80%, like this. And on a new layer, also clipping mask, we switch to add mode. Same brush, we add this highlighted area on the sphere, just like this. I want to erase some part of the planet. Here at the bottom, more, and here too. Just to play with the distance and depth. Now let's draw another planet. You can merge these layers if you are satisfied with the result. On a new layer with the studio pen, we draw a bigger circle, like this. Fill it. Create a new layer, clipping mask. And with this yellowish light color, we are going to painting and select this brush to draw these stripes over here. You can change the size of the brush and also control the pressure, because this brush is pressure sensitive. Okay. Just like this. Try to follow the shapes of the sphere. to make it look more realistic. Now we create a new layer and select Studio Pen brush. We will draw this belt. We assume this is a Saturn planet. If you hold some time, you can make the shape smooth like this. Let's connect the edges and fill. I want to erase this little part here. Okay. Select eraser and erase these parts of the belt. Okay. Let's also change to soft brush. We are still on eraser, and erase a little bit using low pressure. I will draw another planet with this color and Studio Pen. Create a new layer. Draw a circle. Fill the layer. Let's pick this dark pink color. Go to Textures, Grunge brush, and we draw some texture on the layer, which is clipping mask, like this. Let's go to this layer and with the eraser selected as a soft brush, we erase this part to create the illusion of distance. Now I want to draw more stars with white color. If you want to select a pure white, you go to the disk and just double tap on the white. If you check the value, you will see that it's pure white here. I create a new layer and I will use the stamp from my space brush set, different sizes, just draw them randomly, make bigger, smaller, draw as many of them as you wish. Here, if you want to move one of the stars from the layer, but you can't move it without affecting the entire layer, so what we do is we go to the select tool, we select one of the stars with a free hand, and with the arrow we can move it wherever we want. Now is the final part of the drawing. We will draw a comet. I have one in my space set, but I will show you how you can draw it with the soft brush. We have the pure white color selected, and we just draw a circle. Go to Smudge tool and select the soft brush as a smudger. Make the size small enough, and we just make these moves, creating the tail of the comet. Here on the sides too, we are just smudging it carefully, changing the brush size, make it bigger and smaller, like this. Yes. Now let's duplicate the layer. Go to the layer below and scale it, make it a little bigger, and change the blending mode to add, and change the upper layer blending mode to normal. Lower the opacity. And let's merge them. Lower the opacity again, around 45%. And we also change the blending mode of the stars layer to add, and lower the opacity to around 45%. Let's duplicate the comet, make it smaller, and change the shape a little bit so that they don't look like twins. Make the tail longer, the sides a little bit wider. You can also change the opacity to make it look further. Let's duplicate it too. Move right here. And make it a little bit brighter. I think we are done with our space seal drawing. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And if you did, please subscribe to my channel. Also, if you share your artwork on Instagram, please tag me at TatyWorks. This way I'll be able to see your work and I'll share it in my stories. Thank you for watching.